2009 was a year that had some of the most iconic songs and best groups to debut in K-pop history. And one of those groups that debuted during that time is the rookie group After School. So let's break down the sensational rookie group of 2009. After School's story would take place under Pledis Entertainment. And if you're newer fans to K-pop, you'd probably know Pledis from 17 and Nuest. But back then, Pledis was a small, up-and-coming label that just came out in 2007. They would envision a new female group called After School, and it will be built around Kahi, who would come from the Korean-American group S-Blush. Kahi would also recommend her bandmate Bekah. Jooyoung, Soyoung, and Jongha would make up the other 3 members that would make up the 5-member group of After School when they first debuted. Now the group was envisioned to be this Korean version of the Pussycat Dolls, and After School also had this novel concept called the graduation system, where after a few years, singers would move on. And what would happen is that the group would rotate new members as the old ones left. And this was done to bring in new fresh blood, as well as to not tie down current members to the usual 7-year contracts that happen in Korea. So if a member wanted to get into drama acting or movie acting or become a TV personality, they can graduate and leave the group. While the graduation system had good intentions, as it allowed the singers to have freedom, this would actually backfire and would be one of the major reasons why After School would decline in just a few years, which we'll talk about a bit later. So back to early 2009, the group debuted with their first album, New Schoolgirl. They had 3 lead singles, Playgirls, and Bad Guy. Yet the group hit an early snag, as when the group promoted Bad Guy, it actually got banned because it had 1 curse word in it. And back in 2009, Korean networks were a lot more strict with what can go on air. The group would also do some shuffling in their debut year. The group would get a new member called Yui, who would collaborate with Son Dam-bi, and was the opening act for the group's inspiration, the Pussycat Dolls, during their Asia tour. But just when things started to get interesting for the group and they started to get momentum, Soyoung would be the first to graduate from the group. To offset Soyoung's loss, the group would add 2 members, Reina and Nana. Now despite some early success from Pledis' female group, having the constant shuffle of getting new members and members leaving was not a good sign. In one of the most iconic years in K-pop history, knows so many groups that were exploding during this time. This is the year that the Hallyu wave took off, and if you wanted to be remembered as a company or as a group, you needed that one hit iconic song. And 2009 was a prime year to do that. And unfortunately, After School did not have one of those hits yet. They needed one of those songs to make their mark on the ever-expanding Hallyu wave. And that they would in November 2009 with the hit Because of You. Combining a catchy dance beat with slick raps, the girls would go with a more mature look with the white and black suits. Produced by the Brave Brothers, the song would garner 200,000 views in just 24 hours. And I know for some of the newer K-pop fans, you guys might snicker and be like, only 200,000 when some videos get 5 million to 10 million views? But I'll tell you, back in 2009, 200,000 views was no joke. That was a huge barometer to pass, since probably the highest music video during that time, which I believe was Girls' Generation's G, just got 1 million views back then. So 200K is no joke, especially from a rookie group such as After School and a rookie company, Pledis. As expected from such a hit song, the song would peak at number 1 at the Gaon music charts. Because of You would actually become the apex of After School's career. It'd be their most iconic hit, and the song that the group is known for the most. Following the incredible success of the song, After School was at an all-time high by the end of 2009. So for the following year, the girls would ride that momentum into 2010. The start of 2010 would be a good sign for the ladies at After School. They would win the Best Rookie Award at the Seoul Music Awards, as well as the Billboard Japan Music Awards. And you really just can't go wrong with that. Those are 2 pretty good awards there. The group, in their ever-constant shuffling, would get another member called Lizzie. And their second big hit, Bang, would be a banger. Ha ha ha, you get it? It would probably be the group's second iconic song, and it was inspired by American marching bands. And to train for the song, the group had to go through 5 months of practicing the song. Bang, being their second big hit, would peak at number 2 on the Gaon charts. They would also feature in the Korean horror movie White, the Melody of the Curse. I remember watching this movie and it was It was not too bad, not the greatest thing, but hey, if you made it into a Korean movie, I'll give you guys props after school. At the end of 2010, they would also release an album called Happy Pleatus First Album. And unlike many other companies that release these type of albums, this album only had after-school songs. What was cool about this album is that it was charity and an appreciation to give back to the fans. So right there, you can tell that After School really cares and had this bond with their fans. And you might be thinking so far, whoa, After School, they're a pretty awesome group. How can things go wrong? They had 2 big hits and they had this cool charity album. I was thinking, After School is gonna be big and popular for much of the 2010s. Boy, I wish I was right. But getting back to the group, After School would also debut their subunit called Orange Caramel. And this would have Lizzie, Nana, and Reina in it. Now, having a subgroup in the 2010s was actually the trendy thing, as many of the main groups would actually have their own subgroups because companies wanted to make more money and they wanted to get the group more exposure. But as you guys can imagine, it's double the work for those people in that subgroup, as they have to do both songs in their main group as well as subgroup. But you know what? Orange Caramel was considered one of the better subgroups during this time, as it had this unique look, it had the visuals, it had the cute aegyo, and it was just a breath of fresh air for many music critics as well as fans. And the subgroup also had this fun vibe to it, like they actually liked performing on stage. Plus, they had some bangers as well. And the most surprising thing about the subgroup is that Orange Caramel, in just a couple years, would actually surpass the popularity of their main group, After School. So now it's 2011, and After School does the cool thing of debuting in Japan. And hey, we got to start off this year with adding another member, Young. You know, by this time, it's really hard to keep track of all the members in the group. And once they were in Japan, they would collaborate with iconic J-pop singer Namie Amuro, which would win Best Collaboration in the MTV Japan Music Awards in 2012. Now I'll say this, you can't go wrong with collaborating with such an iconic star like Namie Amuro. The group would also add tap dancing to their next music video, Let's Step Up. They would release their first full album, Virgin, and they would do a Japanese promotional blitz in Tokyo, which sold out in mere minutes. After School was also riding high in Japan because they were invited to A Nation, which is a really popular series of Japanese concerts during the summer. And wrapping up 2011, the group would have Happy Pleatus' second album, which in this album would include the Pleatus family songs. So from 2009 to 2011, After School was at their peak. They were doing really well, they had an iconic song with Because of You, and they weren't doing too bad in Japan. So you're like, what can go wrong? Well, mid-2011 can actually answer that question. So during this time, when After School was making it big in Japan and doing pretty well, Bekah would actually leave the group. She would be the first member from the original cast of Because of You to leave. She would go back to Hawaii to become a designer, get away from K-pop for a bit, and just find herself. And in a more recent interview by Manoa Now, Bekah revisits her after-school experiences, talks about how tough the K-pop industry is, what it was like to be one of the first Korean Americans to be doing K-pop during that time, and to always have a plan B, because being an idol as plan A usually doesn't pan out. I'll leave the video interview in the description below if you guys want to check it out. It's highly recommended. But as much as Bekah leaving the group in mid-2011 would hurt the group, 2012 would be the biggest blow yet. And it would be the pivotal point where you see After School going down. And it's just a sad thing. So let's go to 2012. 2012 was when Kahi left. And Kahi was the group's founder, the group's ace. And because of her talent and charm, she was the biggest draw to After School. Because she was a bit older than the other members, that she was basically the coach and mom of the team that led the group. Now, newer K-pop fans might know her from the Produce 101 and 48 series, where she's the strict, stern choreography teacher. Now, some of the reasons why she left is that she was pretty depressed with the group. She was pretty sad. And in a later interview in 2016, she confessed that she felt that she was an outsider. When more and more members were added to the original cast of After School, she just felt that she was isolated and couldn't relate to the group as much anymore. Post-Kahi years from 2013 to 2016, and Jung-ah would assume the role of new leader. They would release their Japanese album, Dress to Kill, and star in the beauty reality show called After School Beauty Bible. Now I would say this, even though after school is declining during this time because of Kahi and Bekah leaving, I felt the group going to Japan was a very smart move. In fact, some of their best bangers are actually Japanese songs. But unfortunately, those Japanese songs weren't really known to many K-pop fans. They didn't make as many sales, nor did they get the spotlight. Fast forward to 2014, when another member would leave the group. You can see the group's decline during this time, but this next several years would make it painfully apparent. Moving on to 2016, their second leader, Jung-ah, would leave the group. Yui would follow in 2017 to pursue her original dream of acting. Kawon would leave to go into Produce 48, and her subunit, Orange Caramel, would cease activities in 2016. The remaining members would soon follow and leave the group, pursuing either acting roles or new singing careers, either as a soloist or perhaps to get into another group. By 2019, there was only 2 members left, Nana and Young. And let's get real, after school was pretty much done. It's just that they haven't officially disbanded the group yet. But by 2020, the group would officially be no more, as Nana would go into full-time acting and Young would start up her own solo agency, and this would end the once promising group that was one of the breakout stars in 2009. So the big question is, what happened to After School? I mean, after all, they had Because of You, an iconic song, in 2009, as well as Bang in 2010. The group had a lot of talent, and it was poised to be one of the iconic groups in the 2010s. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. So for the first big reason why the group declined so fast is the graduation system, which was supposed to be a strength. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the graduation system was supposed to grant freedom to the singers that they could leave before 7 years. But what ended up happening is that fans didn't like the constant shuffling. They didn't like having to get to know new singers and then lose their favorites. And that really hurt them. The graduation system was based off Japan's AKB48 model, where girls come and go. But the reason why AKB48's graduation system works so well is that the branding isn't the individuals. The branding is the actual group, the AKB brand. Whereas in K-pop and After School, the branding is almost always on the individuals. So just from that misunderstanding alone, the graduation system was doomed to fail. Kahi was the next big reason why the group started their early descent in 2012. Like I said earlier, that was the biggest pull for the group. And from there, After School lost their biggest star. Pledis running out of money is another reason. And during the mid-2010s, they were promoting a new group, 17. And it was talks that the After School members were pretty much just saying this publicly that, hey, we'd like to promote, but our company ran out of money. And it's going towards other groups. And it's a shame that their company didn't back them up. I'm sure it's a business decision that maybe they felt other groups were more profitable, but I felt at the same time After School didn't get a fair shake. And many singers also got their songs delayed, upwards of 5 years. And Kawon was actually one of the people to actually say this. As in an interview on the Produce 48 show, she was saying that she was waiting for 5 years to have her new song come out. And the last reason, everyone just felt that After School's run came up to a close and everyone just wanted to do their own thing. After School's run was a very good run. From 2009 to 2011, they were among one of the top K-pop groups during that time. And you know, what good memories they were. So thank you for watching this video, and I'd like to know what you think about this video in the comments below. If you guys want real talk on K-pop, then please sign up for my free email list and grab that free ebook below. And with that being said, I'll see you in the next video. Take it easy, guys.